Hi guys! Welcome back to my channel, Rich Diva. This channel is dedicated to find ways to financial freedom by finding means to acquire money, save money, and multiply money. So please subscribe, like, and share this video.
The process of manifestation. The process of what? All right, help me out here. Your thoughts, lead to your feelings, which lead to your excellent. One more time, all together. Your thoughts lead to feelings, lead to... I'm very well known for making the following statement. And the statement is even on the very back of the book that we've been talking about. And it says this. It says, give me 5 minutes with anyone and I can predict your financial future for the rest of your life. How? Very simply. In a short conversation, I can identify what's called your money blueprint. Money what? Blueprint. Thank you. Each of us has a personal money blueprint already ingrained in our subconscious mind. And my friends, it is this blueprint, more than anything and everything else all combined, that will determine your financial life. You can know everything about business. You can know everything about marketing, about negotiations. You can be the best salesperson. You can be the best at your job. You can know everything about finances. You can know everything about stocks. You can know everything and every strategy about real estate. But if your money blueprint isn't preset for a high level of success, you will never, and I repeat, never amass a large amount of money. And if by chance you do, you will either quickly or slowly lose it. It's very simple. It boils down to that. First way that rich people think quite differently than most poor and middle class people, and when I say poor and middle class, I mean the mentality more than necessarily the result. Of course, it depends on that, yes? All right, so let's go this one. Rich people believe what? I create, one more time, twice as loud. And most poor and middle class people, what do they believe? Life happens to me. Life happens to me. If you want to create real wealth, it is imperative to believe that you are at the steering wheel of your life. You have to believe that you are the one who creates your success. You are the one who creating your mediocrity, and you are the one creating any financial struggle. Consciously or unconsciously is still you. But instead of taking full responsibility for what happens to them in their life, most people, well, they play the role of the what? The victim. Now, you can always tell a victim because they leave 3 indelible clues. And we're going to go over these right now. But before we do, I want you to realize that I do fully understand that what we're about to talk about here has nothing to do with anyone in this particular room. But just in case you know someone who should have been here, make sure you bring them next time. Yes? All right. So the first thing they do is what? They blame, that's right. They blame the economy. They blame their type of business. They blame the stock market. They blame the real estate market. They blame the city they live in. They blame the taxes. They blame the government. They blame their employer. They blame their employees. They blame their manager. They blame customer service. They blame their partner. They blame their upline. They blame their downline. They blame their husband. They blame their wife. And of course, everybody wants to blame their parents for something. Or the next thing they do is they do what? Thank you. They justify their situation by saying something like, well, you know, money's not that important. Let me ask you a question. If you said that your husband or your wife or your boyfriend or your girlfriend wasn't that important, would they be around for very long? I don't think so, and neither would what? You know, neither would money. And people come up to me in my major seminars all the time, and they'll walk up and they'll say something like that. They'll say, well, you know, Harv, money's not that important. And I'll go, you're broke, aren't you? And they'll go, well, right now I'm a little short. No, not right now, always. You've always been broke, yes or yes. And they go, of course they're broke. Of course they're broke. If you didn't think having a motorcycle was important, would you buy one? Would you have one? Of course not. If you don't think having a pet parrot is important, would you buy one? Would you have one? Of course not. If you don't think money's important, would you have any? Of course not. You know, you can actually dazzle your friends with this information. The next time your friend comes up to you and says something lame like that, here's what I want you to do. I want you to roll your eyes up into here and look up into the heavens and put your hands up here on your forehead and go, you're broke. And they're going to go, how did you know? And you're going to go, what else do you want to know? That'll be $50, please. And you'll have a whole new business. Of course they're broke. Let me just say this for the record. Anybody who says money is not important doesn't have any. True or true? All right, now, the third one here is absolutely imperative. What's it say, please? Complain. Let me say this right now. Complaining is the absolute worst possible thing you could do for your health or your wealth. The worst. Why? Well, one of our other programs is called the Wizard Training. What kind of training? And that's all about how do you manifest what you want with elegance and joy versus a lot of struggle. And the way to do that is using universal principles. And so you can be in alignment with the laws of nature instead of fighting against them. Does that make sense? All right. And one of those principles I'm sure you heard of, and it says this. I want you to repeat it. It says, what I focus on expands. Let me hear you. What I focus on expands. One more time. What I focus on expands. Tell somebody else, please. Excellent. Now, here it is. Let me ask you a question. When you are complaining, what are you focusing on? What's right with your life or what's wrong with your life? And since what you focus on expands, what are you now going to get more of? What's right with your life or what's wrong with your life? Absolutely, you're going to get more of what's wrong with your life. When you are complaining, you are actually attracting crap into your life. When you are complaining, you turn into this big, giant crap magnet. Rich people play the money game to what? Win. And most poor and old-class people play what? Not to lose. Not to lose. Oh, my goodness. Most people actually play the money game on defense versus offense. Let me ask you your opinion here. Again, in sports or any game you play strictly on defense, tell me, what are your chances of actually winning that game? How many people say pretty slim and none? And what are your chances of winning the game big? Impossible. True? And that's the way most people play the money game on defense versus offense. You know, their primary concern for a lot of people is survival and security. You know, so what is your goal? What's your objective? What's your true intention? For a lot of people, their primary intention is to have enough to pay the bills. I just want enough to pay the bills. On time would be a miracle. Or I just want to get by. Or I just want to earn a decent living. And due to the power of intention, that's exactly what you're going to get and not a dime more. Or you have middle-class people, and middle-class people, what's their big intention? They just want to be what? Comfortable. You know, it's so important to them, we're going to write it 2 times. So there's comfortable, and then there's this word. What's this word? And we all know comfortable leads to rich, yes? Yes? Yeah, and that's not my experience. Let me say this right now, just for the record, in my experience. Comfortable and rich are planets apart. Planets apart. What you need to do and who you have to be comfortable is a whole different world than who you have to be and what you have to do to get rich. My goal is to become a multi-millionaire and more. Let me hear you. Again. Again. And nothing less will do. Rich people always think the word what? Both. And most everybody else thinks what? Either or. Either or. As in, either I can be rich or I can be spiritual. Either I can be rich or I can be good and kind. Either I can be rich or I can be generous. Either I can be rich or I can have my health. Either I can be rich or I can have time for my family. Either I can have money or I can have love. Either or, either or. All that is called scarcity thinking. What kind of thinking? Scarcity thinking. And the answer to all of those is what? Both. Rich and successful people admire and model. What's the 2 words? Admire other rich and successful people. And what do most everybody else do? They resent the heck out of them, yes or yes? Most poor and middle class people often look at other people's success with resentment or jealousy or envy, or they snip, they're so lucky, or they whisper naughty things under their breath. You have to realize something so simple, that if you view rich people as bad in any way, shape, or form, and you want to be a good person, then you can never be rich. You can never be rich. You can never be rich. So, you have to practice. Say, I have to practice. So instead of resenting rich people, I want you to practice admiring rich people. I want you to practice blessing rich people. I want you to practice loving rich people. That way you unconsciously know that when you get rich, other people will what? They'll admire and bless and love you instead of resent the heck out of you. Much better for creating wealth. Yes or yes? Yes. Bless that which you want. Say it with me. Bless that which you want. Bless that which you want. So what that means is this. If you see somebody with a beautiful home, bless that home and bless that person. If you see somebody with a beautiful car, bless that car and bless that person. If you see somebody with a beautiful family, bless that family and bless that person. If you see somebody with a beautiful, wonderful business, bless that business, bless that person. Why? Because anything that you negate, you can never have money. So let's talk about why be rich. Number one, lifestyle. What's the word? Hey, obviously that's the most obvious one, for the wonderful lifestyle that can afford you and your family. It's a nice way to live, yes or yes? Yes. But number two is contribution. What is it? Here's my thoughts. It says this. My feeling is this, that if you have the wherewithal to be rich, it's your duty, it's your obligation to do so. Why? So that you can help people who simply do not have that wherewithal. Does that make sense to you all? Because, and I'll say this, that if you're in this room, you probably have the wherewithal. Especially you self-selected yourself to be here. If you're hearing this message, you selected yourself to be that. You understand? And here's where I came up with that, like very specifically, a good example. A while ago, I was reading in the newspaper about a woman in Africa, Tanzania to be exact, and she has a goiter problem. Do y'all know what a goiter problem? It's like when they have the big, thick neck, right? And it's a thyroid problem. And you know that problem can be completely alleviated with a 10-minute surgery, 10-minute operation, and it's gone. In Tanzania, they have a decent medical system, but it's a pay-for-play deal. In other words, you pay for your doctor or your hospitalization or whatever. This woman with this goiter problem and it costs, by the way, $31 for this 10-minute operation. She has been saving for just over 5 years. 5 years, and she has $22. Twice a week she doesn't eat. She has a newborn child who's going to be another mouth to feed, so she's feeling that it's going to take her another 5 years to get the other $9. So you would think, for goodness sake, someone just send her the stupid $9. Problem. There are millions, what's the word? Millions. Of people in this situation. Millions. Not one, not two, not 10, not 10,000, and not hundreds of thousands. Millions in this situation. So how can you help them better? By being broke or being rich enough to be able to do something about it? Do you understand what I'm saying? And I get this all the time. I get people saying, well, you know, what about the environment? What about this? And what about they're taking all the oil and they're killing all the forest and all that? They. Yes, some of them are. You want to save the environment? Get rich, buy a few million acres and save it. You're going to have some power and control over your land. You understand what I'm saying? Yes or no? Yes. Take responsibility is what I want to say on that. Okay, this one over here, one more here. This is critical. The third reason is for what? Who you have to become in order to create wealth. In other words, who do you have to be in character, in virtue, in traits, how big do you have to be to get rich versus, being broke? And there's certain characteristics that it takes to be incredibly successful. Because what creates success? And isn't it one of the things being one of the best in your field? Yes or no? Yes, yes or no? Yes. Absolutely. Who do you have to be? What do you have to know? Who do you have to be in character to be the best at what you do in order to get paid the most? Does that make sense to you? So who do you have to become? It's a learning process. And that brings us to the next way that rich people actually think quite differently and are quite different than most other. Rich people are what? Bigger than their problems. What is it? Bigger than their problems. And most other people are what? Smaller than their problems. Smaller. And the secret, guys, I want you to hear something right now. If you will just understand and take action on this one right here, I promise you, mano a mano, heart to heart, your life will just skyrocket. It will go to a whole other level. All right, this one is really, really important. Recall the process of manifestation. Say it with me. Your thoughts lead to your feelings, lead to actions, lead to results. Which one is the highlighted one? Action. How many people agree to succeed in the real world, you have to take what? Action. Let's see if that's true. Why is that? Thoughts and feelings, are they part of the inner world or part of the outer world? Inner world, thank you. Results, part of the inner world or part of the outer world? Outer world. And therefore, action becomes the what? The bridge between the inner world and the outer world. Do you understand? So, you can think all you want about wealth and success. You can meditate. Listen, I've meditated for 25 years. But I've never been meditating there and had a bag of money drop on my head. I'm one of these unfortunate souls that actually has to do something in the real world to get any of the stuff. If you want physical money, you'll need to transfer into the physical realm from the mental, emotional, spiritual sides. And the way to transfer from those three invisible to the visible, from under the ground to above the ground, into the physical realm is through the process of action. True or true? That's why action is absolutely critical. Now, if that's true, what prevents us from taking the action we know we need to be taking? Fear. Thank you. How many people agree that fear and doubt and worry are among our greatest obstacles, not only to success, but to happiness as well? Excellent. And therefore, one of the biggest differences between rich people and most other people is that rich people are willing to do this. What's it say? If your life is about convenience, you'll never be rich. Let me say this right now. It's not always convenient to do what it takes to get rich. And practice acting in spite of discomfort. It's the same thing. Rich people are willing to what? Learn and grow. And most poor and middle class people think they what? Already know. They already know. Let me say this right now. I'm going to complete with one of my famous sayings. And the saying is this. You can learn to do anything. You can learn to succeed. Every master was once a disaster. I'll say it again. Say it with me. Every master was once a disaster. Everybody who's great at something today was once terrible at it. So it doesn't matter where you're starting from. You understand what I'm saying? Everybody starts somewhere. Some start here, some start here, some start over there. Everyone's got some type of ailments, handicaps, problems. Even if you don't have a problem, your mind will tell you you do.